aggressive in the early stage. But Yone, it's been banned, Oshin. We've done it. We banned the Yone.
Yes, it has been taken and it has been stricken from the records as something that you're not going to be able to have anymore. OMG will have first priority. They're not going to go with the Sejuani this time around. Again, kind of saying, look, Aki's got a bigger champion pool than you, Hacker. We also know Hacker loves to go for things like the Xin Zhao and the Lee Sin, so maybe wants to make sure he can go toe-to-toe with an equally skirmishing jungler. And everything kind of goes the wayside of that, but we'll see what they want to go for. So Zeri locked in here for Abel, getting a much more standard bot lane in this one compared to the last. And this time around, FPX are going to say, look, we'll take the Xayah. They're probably going to take the Rakan as well for Chocho and stop that combination being denied once more. But the Wukong this time around, so maybe OMG just go for the Sejuani anyway.
Yeah, most likely going to be a Sejuani for the side of Aki, where he has been looking very comfortable on a range of different junglers. So I'm not too worried about which side of the matchup he is on for this game too. But Zeri for the side of Abel this time around, I mean, I've been enjoying Zeri a lot in the current patch, where a lot of these ADCs, yes, you do have similar scaling, but once you have something like the Lulu, then you are just so much stronger, I guess, when it comes to these team fights with that peeling ability as well. But Shandy gonna lock into K'Sante blind a second game in a row, where please, Fearness, you have this counter position where you can opt into a hard winning matchup, which is something that FPX desperately needs.
Yeah, desperately needs, as we see. Why do they want to try and maybe move this draft right now? They have got themselves a pretty decent top lane here for OMG, as Shanji's going to be pretty much able to ban anything he wants. I honestly don't even think they'll ban the Renekton, even though it did do fairly decently in those mid-game skirmishes. It doesn't really have that great of a setup. And already the Gragas being banned away by FPX, saying, look, we're going to get rid of the Yone, we're going to get rid of the Gragas, we're going to get rid of anything that could maybe deal with what we have going for us right now. And honestly, I like this style of drafting when you come into a game 2 like this, where it's like, you lost against this first time. You don't need to go up against it one more time. You need to just make sure you deal with it and move on with your life.
Yeah, hopefully we do see a Sejuani ban coming out of FPX as well, as we don't want to see Sylas, K'Sante, Sejuani in that top side. I think the synergies are just way too good. Poppy gets taken off, so FPX very willing to hand over the Sejuani into the hands of Aki. A bit surprising, as OMG is going to focus down on Care's champion pool, but I think even if Care is in a winning matchup, we don't see him being as proactive compared to Cream. And the one time I believe on that Sylas he engaged in the middle lane, it turned out to be a losing fight for FPX. So just something that is a lot more laid back for Care, where he is able to comfortably scale into the late game, is the direction that FPX should go for here.
It should be the direction they should go for, but we'll see what way they end up kind of making that one work for themselves, as I'm just kind of setting up themselves for a bit of a late game team fight setup. You've got the Sion, the K'Sante, you've got the Xayah, the Zeri. These are big carries that can help you later on in the game if you're able to get to that very late game stage. And I like that Care is getting priority pick into the side of Cream, but I think Cream is very happy to go with the Sylas here. And again, you know, this is something that's kind of one of those trifecta: the Akali, the Yone, and now the Sylas. Cream is exceptionally proficient on this champion. So what have you got, FPX? What have you got, Care, to deal with this?
Care. I don't care. Slam the Kassadin. Yes! We have Kassadin up against the blind Sylas for finally Oshin. FPX have 2 winning solo lanes and they have an even bottom lane. Let's go!
They've got themselves all the pickups right now as they look to try and make this one a very late game affair. Both teams very happy with their scaling AD carries. Both teams very happy with the way things are going, and this is going to be a very curious setup now for both these teams as we kind of wait to see a bit of a long... Honestly, I don't even expect to see any fighting until about 20-25 minutes, because both these teams are very happy getting Roas, getting, you know, first 2-3 items on their AD carries. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen, but maybe that is exactly what FPX wants as they slam the Kassadin for this game too. I've also paired alongside Sion so many scaling opportunities for this second game, as I voiced this before, I prefer the sound much more over the Cassante once we do reach 5v5 territory, as he just offers a lot more in terms of that front line. As Cassante, he has received a slight nerf, so once he pops the ultimate, the resistance go to 85, so he is just extra killable once that has been done. But talking about all the lane matchup, I mean, Zeri Lulu into something like the Xayah and Rakan, as long as Abel is going to safely survive the early stage, I think that shouldn't be a big problem. But the junglers are going to impact the game so much, as Hacker for this game around, he needs to babysit Kassadin so he's allowed to scale to that level 16 mark.
Yeah, I think a lot of eyes are going to be on Hacker to try and mitigate and deal with what OMG will be putting out, specifically Aki. Like we said, Aki is kind of quietly becoming one of our more top performing junglers, to be perfectly honest, in the league. Hasn't been picked up as a player of the week just yet, but definitely has been doing a significant amount of work for OMG in their wins. It's the Gyro's role. And OMG are building back themselves. Remember, it's been a while since we've seen OMG towards the top of the standings. Quite a few years. I think it was back in 2013, 2014 Worlds was the last time we really saw them in an international event. They've gone through many different iterations, been building up, getting rid of, you know, the likes of Cold and even the likes of Icon and such, trying to move into a new era of OMG. And it has been a relatively successful move, but you always want to be pushing for that next big thing. And I think the next big thing for them is getting further and further into that playoffs, being a bit more of a threat later on in the season.
I miss Icon, but I believe that he challenged someone to a wrestling match and he lost it. Is that the T? I need to fact check on that. But he was having some,
is that the T?
I don't know, some beef on stream, but it was very interesting for Icon, as he was one of my favorite players in LPL. But relatively safe start from both sides, as OMG does have Zeri wanting to scale onto those items. I'm wondering if he's just gonna opt into the Immortal Shield Bow with BT once again, so he doesn't get popped by Kassadin later on in the game.
We'll wait and see. As priority does tend to go over to the Lulu, as she has a point and click ability that does unholy and untold amounts of damage. And again, I don't really think much else is going to be happening from this laning phase, apart from just people farming up, not really going for anything exceptional or crazy. Hacker walking already on top of a ward, so they know exactly where he is. So if he was going to try and maybe get a sneaky move up onto Shanji in that top side, definitely not going to happen now. Shanji already kind of putting down the hurt here onto the side. This is actually the ultimate. I didn't even realize this. I should have mentioned this earlier. This is the ultimate moment for you. Which fridge is thicker? You know, like which fridge has more beef inside? Because right now it's Shanji versus on the Cassante versus Fearless's Sion. You get to see which one is the better tank.
Yeah, Cassante will have a much better laning phase compared to something like a Sion, because if you pilot your CC well enough, then the Sion can't land a Q.
Oh, Cream! No! He has to flash, and already you can see him, he's dead. That's just an unfortunate situation. Aki not quite able to get something traded back, but oh, that's so unfortunate there for Cream. And look, I understand the idea, but the execution was very much lacking.
And the first blood goes into the hands of Care. He will very happily take that as very unfortunate turn of events for the Silas, as he tanked a tower shot in a winning matchup. We're gonna take another look at this. I mean, it's just a misplay out of Cream, as the chains didn't land and connected to a minion. This melee minion is the 6th member of FPX, and I'm convinced.
Yeah. The jury's out. We already have a verdict. We don't need to talk about this anymore. But yeah, that is a rough situation. Giving an early kill to the Kassadin. I like that Aki tried to help out his friend there. Hacker got taken very low, but Aki, once he's done his combo, just has no way of really killing anyone after that. So really unfortunate there, as I say, the 6th member of FPX comes in clutch. Have to check the rule books on that one.
Yep, definitely have to check, but we're gonna go back to reality from an insane 1v1 in the middle lane. Silas is, however, still supposed to hard counter this Kassadin. I mean, sorry, the Kassadin is going to hard counter the Silas, so putting himself behind by giving first blood definitely not working in the favors of OMG, but hopefully Aki can do some magic on the Sejuani pick and bring them back, because that's kind of been the situation of OMG's early game every single game. Hacker is behind enemy lines looking for a gank onto this bottom lane.
Yeah, he's going to look for a gank. Abel should be able to get himself over the wall, so it just costs a flash of PP God. Good awareness there from the OMG support to recognize if I get caught up by this, probably get the feathers down, probably more CC, and I'm probably going to die, so it doesn't even let the first bit hit. As Aki really is trying to help out Cream right now. I think this is very much a survive kind of setup here. I need to get the reset. He does get a fair bit of chunk back onto him, but you can see this is why the Kassadin does so well into something like the Silas, because you just have such priority of being able to trade back with that magic damage shield and knowing that he can't really do much about it.
Yeah, no mana, no TP, so Cream is forced to back here. I mean, we do desperately see Aki trying to help out Cream in this mid matchup, but once Care hits level 6, Aki went for the gank and bursted Care's flash from that, so that's pretty good, but Care is still slowly reaching that level 6 mark, as once he gains that mobility, he isn't going to be too vulnerable up against something like the Silas and Sejuani. So for a start, FPX is looking relatively happy with how this early game has went.
Absolutely, definitely feeling a little bit stronger comparatively, considering we talked about how both these teams are very, very happy to go to 2, 3, 4 items before really anything happens there. A nice little sidestep from Abel. That was cheeky. I like that. As, make sure he doesn't in any kind of crazy. Then they are hard dogpiling now in this mid lane because they want to make sure they can maybe kill off this Kassadin. Get back this laning phase. Aki will pick up the kill. They would have loved to give it over to Cream, but look, a kill's a kill. And OMG making sure this Kassadin doesn't have free reign.
Care was just a little bit too overstepped in this lane, as you do have information of PP God missing from the bottom lane 2v2, and really good stuff from Aki as he reganks this flashless Kassadin before he hits level 6. So that's going to be a kill going to the hands of Aki. Nothing into Cream just quite yet, so not ideal, but definitely stopping this Kassadin from becoming an absolute monster late into the game.
Absolutely, and you already see a 10 CS lead now. In fairness, Aki has lived in this mid lane, and honestly, doing it before level 6 makes a lot of sense because you just want to make sure a Care, who just hit it there, by the way, does not have a free and easy gank escape. Now having that Rift Walk means that he's going to be stacking up that tier ever so quickly. It's going to be very difficult to really kind of, you know, catch him out anymore. So you got your one opportunity, you took it. Good job for you, Cream, Aki, and PP God. But now we got to wait to see where the rest of the map kind of unfolds. And already we're seeing kind of Abel being jumped on here. Doesn't get over the wall. Ignite comes down. The lightning crash, though, because he hits level 6 first, and he's putting in work here. LWX and Chocho not going to get more than just the ghost out of him. And Care moving down towards this bot side, seeing if he could be a bit of a nuisance. With vengeance, indeed, but the healing coming out from that red buff take is going to be in a lot. Care gets caught up. Care's in a lot of trouble, and he needs to be so careful. They're going to try to put the shield down, maybe try and stop the rest of FPX from helping out. Care being very aggressive, but a good ward setup here by the OMG bot side means they knew exactly what reinforcements were coming.
I can't believe Care just went so deep into the enemy jungle and he got out alive. We saw Hacker around the dragon pit. They were one member down while OMG was gathering reinforcements, but once this Kassadin hits level 6, I mean, he just has so much escape options as you don't have that hard CC. Sejuani had to burn it just in case of dying. PP God. Oh, Choo-Choo, I mean.
I was going to say, I was like, PP God is
chucking out some orders. What do you mean?
It's breathtaking stuff. I'm going to go back up towards this top side, which has just been the wettest of noodles. As OMG very happy to let Shanji just kind of have his own free time up at this top side. And he gets his own advantages, you know, 10 CS up, a turret plate, able to kind of bring down himself now and make sure that he's able positioned to take away this Rift Herald with his teammate. They do not get vision of Hacker. So they do not know he's here, and he knows he's not on vision, so they're going to look for it here. No crash down available just yet. They're going to look to try and make this one work. Good little dash over the wall. Did you get the Cyclone? The flash is good. LWX was tanking the turret. Hacker now as well. LWX flashes. Hacker has no decoy, and OMG have turned this 3v2 around. It's why junglers don't want to overcommit. It's why they struggle to take down bot lanes like Lulu's Area. They have too much utility. They have too many things to go. PP God gets the supportal combat. LWX should be able to execute. And that's going to be a 2-for-0 in the bot side disaster for FPX.
It's so sad to watch FPX shoot themselves in their own foot. That was not a play that you should have went for. I mean, it's a Zeri Lulu where your first CC didn't hit the Zeri, and Zaya had to force her ultimate as well because she was the one sinking tower. A very messy fight. And a dive from FPX resulting in 2 kills going to the hands of OMG. We're gonna see this again. Chio's initial engage didn't hit onto Zeri. The polymorph out of Hacker means the cycling was delayed just by a little bit. No room from the Zaya either, and she had to tank tower where she's barely 300 HP now. I mean, such a messy fight once again, and the Wukong of FPX falls over while Sejuani gets the Herald on the other side.
Yeah, I love this as well. Chocho kind of saying, like, I'm not going to give you the kill, Abel. So Abel goes, all right, whatever, take it, Lulu. And then LWX, recognizing he had nowhere to go, might have actually been able to recall had he not had any vision in that top side or bottom side jungle. Yeah, Cream gave up, but he didn't have information that Cream had given up, so he needed to make sure he denied any kind of advantage. In fairness, no one gets experience, nobody gains any. Oh, all out, maybe going to come out here in a second. No, not quite. Able to get all the damage here. As we do see Hacker now up on this top side. Shanji's in a lot of trouble. A flash has been used there by Fearness, and Ghost by Shanji should keep him alive and safe. So, Fearness already starting to feel the pressure now of this Cassante and really starting to lose out on a lot of these skirmishes. And now that you know Hacker's on top side, you can go for this easy push.
Yeah, Hacker has done 2 ganks in this game so far. None of them are going to the ways of FPX, and Aki dropped his Herald down for Abel, meaning he's collecting so much more gold into the hands of this bottom lane. I don't like saying this, but the difference in jungle impact in this early game, we can already see it with how the gold is for OMG. They're 2k gold up. Dragon is also going to go into the hands of the Sejuani, where I just don't feel the same pressure from this Wukong.
Yeah, it does feel like despite the early pressure kind of coming out from the mid lane, of the mistake, I should say, from the mid laner of OMG, it does feel like it's been all OMG all the time. Hacker hasn't really found a way of impacting this game, and even when he tried, it really didn't go well. The Lulu is just so difficult to dive when, and that was pre-level 6, by the way. PP God didn't even have access to that before, you know, that fight really kind of happened. So it really does feel like you're just not going to be able to win that kind of a setup. And now, looking even further down the line, this is going to be an Immortal Shield Bow here for Abel. You're losing in top side. Mid lane's 20 CS down. I thought this was a hard counter here.
It is a hard counter, but with the support in jungle coming in for that clutch kill onto Ke, it has saved the lane just a little bit, which, once again, I'm going to say this 2 billion times, we don't see the same support jungle duo synergy coming out of FPX, where this Rakan has never left lane. We haven't seen him be proactive, helping out Care in this mid lane, where even the Lulu is roaming up here. Look at him, he's here again. However, this time it is going to get a response from Chocho, as he is currently 20 CS down. But if you are able to get to that 35-minute mark once items come online and levels are in the hands of FPX, it is winnable, but can you get there is the question.
Yeah, can you get there is the big question. And even when you get there, still a Zeri, still a Cassante, still plenty of late game setup here for your team, as Immortal Shield Bow does get picked up here. That should be the first mythic of the game for OMG's bot laner Abel. And this is getting tougher and tougher as you actually got a 2-item spike now effectively on the bot side. The Shrelia's Revelry alongside that Immortal Shield Bow, almost nigh impossible to make anything else happen. Stealing away the quickness, seeing maybe if they can get a summoner or something out of Chocho. And Cream, despite the very low mana bar, he is just dominating in this mid lane. He does not care about what's happening right now.
I'm gonna be real though, Sheen. I feel like with Tutu roaming towards that mid and giving over the Rakan ultimate into the hands of Cream. It's definitely going to bite them in the next upcoming team fight, which is going to be 1 minute for this Herald spawning towards that top side, where Shenji already has that lane priority in this matchup. Aki is going to look for a dive on this, however. LWS with the ultimate in his hands, not going to happen too much. Abel has been really good with dodging these Rakan Ws.
Exceptional. Exceptional right now. As you can see, Hacker getting jumped on here. He's going to lose his Cyclone just before this Rift Herald spawns, and that is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. So 3,000 gold is the lead, and little by little, bit by bit, FPX are just losing advantages, losing things that could maybe turn the tide of this game, and they're just not able to find anything in return.
Abel is going to pick up 4 plates in this bottom side, as Tutu has already given up as in rotating towards his Herald play, but hopefully they can get something on the other side of the map. We already see the Immortal Shielder coming online for the bottom lane of OMG. Fairness in the Sion matchup, he's tanky enough, I suppose. You don't have the damage just quite yet from OMG to kill this Sion, which I don't think later on to the game Zeri has enough going BT and Immortal Shield Bow, depending on what she decides to build for that 4th item. So it could be good, but Tutu once again in this bottom side. What are you doing? The Herald's up. He doesn't care.
I don't think they can fight it, to be perfectly honest. I think they're kind of taking their wins wherever they can get them. Feathers will fly. That's just more of an escape than anything else for Cream. You can't really use them aggressively, but it means a care. Ooh, needs to be very careful because he is very low. 2 or 3 more auto attacks with that help picks is definitely going to lead to a little bit less desirable situation. So he's going to have to go back. He has TP, but he's not level 11 just yet. So will he TP to the lane just to try and save it? I don't even think he can. So I'm going to see maybe they look for some kind of an engage. Hacker without the Cyclone means that he is not really much of a threat. TP comes out, bot lane rotated up, but FPX, they gain bot lane turret. You were kind of already guaranteed to get that, and Rift Herald goes down. This is still OMG's game. They're still kind of coming out on top in every single circumstance.
45 seconds to the next dragon, but I was expecting FPX to utilize this bot lane priority to get that dragon control, but they rotated mid. But look at the vision, it's still all OMG as Cream gets his bottom wave pushed into Care. But you can realistically give this over to OMG since you don't have your items online, and you're more than fine with a 3-1 kill scoreline, and safely scale even further as you want to play for that late game. But how many are you going to give over? Because like you said, the Zeri Lulu is going to become a very big problem. And even though Kassadin, he is in a winning matchup, if you don't play carefully in those team fights where, let's say PP God gets a polymorph onto you, well, you're dead.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. Look, we're coming in and seeing more and more just kind of slow, methodical play. This is the OMG we've been talking about all split. They are very good at just building advantages through the laning phase. Look, 20 CS in top lane, 20 CS in mid lane, you know, equal in terms of parity in bot lane, but there's a kill there. So this is the kind of OMG play that they live in, they strive for, because they know how powerful they can be once they fight on their own terms. When they're dictating the pace of the game, they take it nice, slow, easy breezy, because they know they don't have any pressure on them.
Cream definitely felt the pressure in that early 1v1 where we need to remind the audience, very unfortunate chains on the minions. Hopefully we get to see the minion of FPX standing up once more for a play in the future. But Care definitely trying to get... We need that 6th person for FPX. They desperately need it, because I think Hacker as a jungler, we haven't seen a single KP, or at least a successful game from this Wukong, where he's really just depending on getting those ultimates into the chokes. Bit of aggressive play from Care, as we do have the hovering of the jungler nearby.
How aggressive? Not just the jungler, he's got everybody kind of coming out with this one here. Even a TP, they're looking to make this 2 quick kills. Cream will fall down. Can they pick up Aki? No, they cannot. But Care is taken very, very low. And actually, speaking of very low, PP got forced to flash over the side as well. Both TPs from both top laners were used, as OMG do lose a kill on that little skirmish.
Should have A-Ram in this top lane. We have 5v5, but Cream unfortunately getting the shorter end of the stick as he stole the Kassadin ultimate, so only used once. Probably one of the worst ults in this game, so unfortunate about that. and it does allow FPX to breathe once again for this game state. We're going to see how it happens. So Cream has that castle and misses the chains as well, and he gets extremely poked out from the initial trade. But FPX, Chocho just also committing the flash to connect to this was really good call from the bottom lane of FPX, and they're able to get one kill, but is it enough for them to come back from the game state with all these major objectives still in the hands of OMG?
Well, that's a start. Plenty of summoners were burned, so it's definitely a good place to be in rather than not. You'll take it. As everything from the flashes and the TPs were kind of burnt down there by the side of OMG. Next Rift Herald. Is he not going to spawn? He needs to use it like now. I was just looking at the Herald timing. Like, Gaki's going to have to drop this just behind top lane turret because he really isn't in a position to try and make a force in mid or bot. He's going to hope for that one. But FPX are in positions. This Shelly is not going to do a lot. And speaking of not doing a lot, Shanji, surprise on you. He goes over the wall. Nicely done there to buffer it by Fearness, but Shelly will not be able to do anything else. But LPX has been left on his own here, so needs to be a bit more careful about where he's kind of positioning himself. Has to use the ultimate just for wave clear.
No cleanse either, so this tower is just gonna get kind of poked down by OMG, even taken. FPX so slow and rotating as LWX, the only member sitting in this mid lane. The macro decisions from FPX, they got nothing by trying to gank a Cassante, and you don't have the damage just quite yet, so a bit questionable as they do also lose that second tier tower.
Fearness gets caught, flashes away, still fine to live on in this particular setup. But yeah, I mean, it looked like FPX were kind of going, look, we know the timer on the Rift Herald, we know he's got to use it soon. The only place he can really get the most out of it is top. Let's overload top and make that one work. But then you're in a situation where, speaking of which, I'm in a situation, Shanji, he's tanky, but he ain't that tanky. And Kara picks up his third kill of the game. But yeah, FPX, they get a kill, they finally get their man. They did lose the tier 2 in that mid lane though, so priorities definitely a little bit weird and skewed right now as Hacker wants to find himself away from the oncoming Cream. Silas very, very scary, and all that vision they had just controlled is now taken away.
Poor Shanti. I like how OMG is just like, yeah, I know there's 4 people living in your lane, but just deal with it. Shanti did deal with it the first time he ulted away, getting a lot of these ultimates burnt onto him as well. But a second time, he doesn't have that escape ability, so unfortunately he did fall 3-3 in that scoreline now. Very even. But with the tower states, I mean, 2 towers gone in this mid, we already see how much control that OMG has of the jungle, where Abel is just going to steal the red buff away from FPX.
I mean, Abel is still scaling into a monster, and Cream going to let all these minions die before he takes that turret. 1 minion shall survive to tell the others what he saw. And that is more and more priority coming over. Still only about a 4,000 gold lead, 4.5. So OMG definitely not out of the woods just yet. This next dragon could be pivotal though. They can see they want to try and get maybe a second item here onto Cream before they look to try and fully engage on that bot side. But at the moment, everyone's getting a reset in. Nobody's in position for the moment to really make a claim on this dragon. It is an Ocean Soul, and for something like a Cassante or a Sejuani, that could be huge.
It looks like FPX is just going to give it away as Care is CSing in that top, hopefully getting that top tower as a exchange. But with the 2 towers falling in the mid lane for FPX, they just never had priority over any of these major objectives, so they're face checking into no vision at all. And someone like Hacker on the Wukong, they're going to engage, however, TP from Care.
Yeah, they're going to get the full engage coming in. Dragon is still procced, and already they're taking away the tankiest member. Here we go, PP God. Maybe they'll look to try and get his ultimate out, trying to keep himself and the team alive. They get a great ultimate out. They're trying to just keep pushing forward. Everything's getting all scrappy. They don't know exactly where they are, but Abel knows what he needs to do. He needs to put out the damage as he keeps putting in these little sparks all the way in the back of FPX. Fearness shall fall as he will not be able to tank anymore. And that's OMG with the team fight. Abel just did not get touched after the initial fight, and that's going to be Dragon Soul point here for OMG.
And that is going to be the 3rd dragon in the hands of OMG, and 2 kills for Abel. This Zeri is going to get out of control before Care can even smell level 16 for this game state. We see FPX hard forcing on this as they don't want to give away this Dragon Soul point, but like I've been saying, this Cassian was just farming in that top lane, and you shouldn't really opt into this because the Zeri just no one killed her as your carries don't have the damage to burst someone like Azeri with the Lulu peeling as well, as the Immortal Shield Blow just allowed him to get back to full HP. But like again, this team fight was so messy. Cream dies, but no one on the AD carry of OMG because they are so short ranged. And this entire team fight goes into the hands of OMG, and I don't know if the Catherine can get to that stage anymore.
I mean, you've got the Navori Quick Blades now picked up here for Abel. He was picking in 2 kills, but just doing so much work. He would love to have a lower Dominic's regard, because you can see how long it took him to burn through Fearless's health bar, even right at the end, with Fearless prosed no threat. But again, want to quickly call out in that fight as well. Shanji got a 3-man knockback right at the end of that fight when it was over by the Tribe Rush on the FPX side. So really was pivotal to keeping his team in it, and honestly just doing such a great job of making sure that everyone was just not doing, everyone was just like locked up and not doing the best they could. So it is another advantage. 6,000 gold here for OMG. Soul point as they wait for another 3 minutes 40 for that Dragon Soul to spawn. And they might honestly look for this Baron as well. They're in a very strong position.
Most definitely, and Aki working alongside PP God once again, just getting that vision control down. Care now level 14, 2 levels away from 16, but 3 minutes away from that Ocean Soul Dragon is definitely going to be a lot of pressure for this Kassadin. How is Cream a level up? I mean, he does have both the rowers in the mid lane. It's kind of scary to think that Silas came out on top in this hard kind of matchup. Yeah, 50 CS. I don't know what happened in terms of CS, but LWX on the Zai, he needs to pull up a miracle before Kassadin can be relied on in these team fights, because for some reason winning lanes turned out to be losing.
Winning lanes turn out to be losing, losing lanes turn out to be winning, and I think we're still waiting to see what really can happen. Aki with his support, not even going to lose a shield there from his Moth Stomper or the Lulu, so more and more pressure around this Baron. And this is the thing as well, like you're looking at with a Sejuani and a Lulu, you can start the Baron whenever you want and back off of it if you don't like the idea of the fight, because it's just so difficult to make that stick. So that damage is just not going to be that relevant coming out later in the fight. So we'll wait to see. Looks like Care is going to be Shanji's dance partner for the moment, as everyone else kind of finds himself up on this top side. They're just corralling them away, pushing them back off of this vision and saying, look, we're not going to fight you just yet, but we're going to make sure you have no idea what is happening. But they have full idea of what Care's doing, so they know Care's nowhere near here. Oh,
yeah, the ultimate thrown out, no follow-up from OMG, just a bit of a scare, but something that scares me is FPX is so dependent on this Kassadin carrying the late game, but PP God, he's been doing pretty well in this Lulu, and his polymorphs have been good. So if this Lulu gets his hands onto the Kassadin and stops him for that 3 seconds, I mean, Abel, 3 items already working towards that 4th, could just kill him straight away. So it's not a reliable source of carry just quite yet, depending on how the enemy Lulu plays, as they have no control of their own jungle right now.
Yeah, it's tough. It is very tough, but I don't know. It's just going to be difficult to see how you kind of look for this fight. You need Fearness and Hacker to get in here, but Baron's on the table, 1 minute to go. So paint me a word picture here, Kitty. How are you approaching this fight as FPX?
I want Care to get his ultimate stacked up to 4, and he one-shots Abel. Without PP God, Abel is definitely going to E in randomly, because that's just the Zeri syndrome of LPL, and you play off OMG's mistakes. We see the TP coming out of Care as he is level 15. I believe he's going to hit 16 right here with the stopwatch as well, so you have to be very scared of him, as he does have a bit of magic pen in his pockets as well. Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, all summoners available. If Care can find a flank onto the back line of OMG, I think that's where you get a winning team fight.
All right, I'm keeping my eyes on Care, who has hit level 16. Not quite on 3 items, but still has a stopwatch. Very important to recognize that. No stopwatches available for OMG, but all summoners across the board are there. At least the combat ones. TP is not going to be needed because everyone's already made their way to this dragon. Immediately started up, lives to fight. As soon as he's born, he has to fight for his life. FPX moving in. They're going to try and isolate, actually. Cassante and Sion having a little bit of a go at each other. The quickness has been stolen away. We'll see if Cream wants to go in for it. They're going to put down the Baron down. Dragon almost there. And it's been confirmed here by FPX. They took it back after the fight, but now Abel seeing if he can put in the work. The silence has gone down. Abel's on the back side of this. He looks like he's 1v4 and really putting in work, but he's been isolated away. Fearness can now play away as Castellan has gone down. That's your damage. Abel, though, not able to keep himself alive. And a triple kill to LWX secures the Dragon and the fight.
9,000 damage from the Xayah, also securing that final dragon. This game now in the hands of FPX, working towards that Baron now. This is exactly what they needed, and they're playing towards this Cassidy doing so much in these team fights. Aki still alive, however. With that smite available, I don't think he can go for the steal.
No, I don't think he can. I think he's just going to be happy to clear out this minion wave in mid lane, make sure he doesn't lose out any more pressure. He's going to maybe poke his head in, say hi, maybe look for something here. Could actually look for it. 7,000 total kills for FPX. Aki just makes a bit of a show, a bit of a dance, but no real bite to his bark. And that is FPX firmly back in this game. Still behind on gold, but it is a much stronger position now.
We see the Sion cutting off escape routes from OMG as FPX is desperately trying to focus this fourth dragon away from OMG as LWX secures this, but my main focus was how Abel plays his team fight as the Zeri did E across the wall trying to get his hand onto the backline, but he did no damage. It's just consistently hitting the Sion, but by then all of your members are already dead and you are becoming the next focus. Abel dashing twice, but he's just dashing further away from his falling teammates. And in the end, the Zeri didn't do as much damage as the Xayah because she popped off. LWX is angry.
The scariest thing about that, though, is that if Abel's able to dodge that decimating smash from the Sion, he probably is able to kill off more people because he had the lightning crash stacking up, he had everything going, but we're not done just yet. Everyone kind of pushing themselves near this wall right now. The decimating smash not doing a hell of a lot. They throw over the ultimate. Chocho gets himself away. He had some decent tenacity. Hacker goes out the decoy and immediately jump back onto Abel. Abel trying to do the damage on the LWX, but LWX pulls back the feathers and he'll pick up all the kills. You didn't have PP got in position. You couldn't go for that fight. They may be able to end the game. It's going to be tough, though.
OMG knows that the game is over. Hard forcing before their towers get bursted down by this Baron buff. But it's not enough as you are up against the Xayah. 3 items now with that LDR available. So 1 caster minion, 1 shot the inhibitor tower as well. And they are going to round up the minions
20
for
seconds.
This game.
You can see Aki, he's trying to stop the minions, but he cannot. Now you don't have Aki. This is going to be the game, and we're going to a 3. FPX not to be outdone. OMG needed to end this game before this Castellan and Xayah got online. And the front-to-back team fight is just too damn strong from FPX. It'll bring us to a 1-1 scoreline. And this best of 3 is not done yet.
Rasheen, another case of Zeri syndrome. I am Dr. Kitty and I'm diagnosing all these ADCs as they just E forward and die instantly into something like the Xayah. You have to play with your space. You have to play by kiting the enemy team, but 2 fights in a row, Abel got 1 shot, and that is your main damage. Gone from the team fight. You have a Silas mid, you have that Cassante top lane. They're all depending on you to toss out that damage, but unfortunately, getting 1 shot means you have no reliable DPS anymore. And LWX really standing up after that 4th dragon and the Xayah pick, putting in the work.
I mean, you saw the idea of what Abel was trying to do. If he kills off the Xayah, maybe there's a chance they don't lose the game there, but just great kiting, honestly, from LWX on this pick. And it shows the power of this, late game carry is that, yes, you're not going to get many opportunities to get a kill in the laning phase, but when you get later and later into the game, you don't